Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. I just wanted to take a quick moment tonight through all this hysteria that's going on about the coronavirus and COVID-19 to talk about some of the misinformation that's out there, how you might be being misled, how the virus might be dangerous, but maybe not necessarily how they're talking about when you're watching TV. And so I just want to jump right into it and let's start talking about what the media is doing to kind of mislead you, especially when it comes to fatality rates of the coronavirus. So coronavirus is one thing they're getting right is it is extremely dangerous when it comes to being contagious. So let's go to this first example. So this is just a random website I have pulled up. It's talking about the different virus comparisons of the seasonal flu versus the coronavirus. And here you can see when they're comparing the two, this looks really, really nuts because the coronavirus is a 3.72% fatality rate, or mortality rate is what they're calling it here. Now that's a lot because you go to the seasonal flu right next to it and under 0.1% of a fatality rate for the seasonal flu. So at first glance, you're seeing this coronavirus has about a 3,000% chance of or 300% chance of killing me. But then you start to look at the numbers here. So what it says with the coronavirus is 127,000 infected cases, and these are confirmed cases, and then the deaths are 4,700. So that's how they got the number for that. Well, then you go up to seasonal flu, and seasonal flu is an estimated 1 billion, and then the amount of deaths is right here, and that comes out to 0.1%. So what's the difference between these two numbers? Well, this estimated 1 billion people dying from the seasonal flu is a higher number than what this would be if you compared apples to apples. But this is apples to oranges. This is confirmed cases. If you took estimated cases of this number would be a lot higher. And then you would, if you divided the deaths by the amount of people infected, you would probably get a number much lower. Now, I don't know if it would be 0.1%, but we're going to see in just a second how that is the actual, that is actually probably around what it's around. But the coronavirus, at first glance, and what the media are making you think is it's this number. Now, if they're really honest, they will take a scientific study that was done by China's CDC, and this is the study, pretty much the only one that I know of. And if you know of any more, please post them because I would like to be up to date on all the science out there with respect to the coronavirus. But it looks like this is the only scientific data we have, and it's from China, so as always you got to take things a little bit with a grain of salt, but I think it's probably pretty good science for the most part. And if the media is really honest, they'll tell you this is the overall case fatality rate of COVID-19 or the coronavirus, and that's 2.3. But we're going to see how that's not even true according to their own study of what it probably is currently at. Now, they'll also tell you that, well, let's just go down to the chart. So if you scroll down, they have a table with all of the data in a nice, beautiful format so we can all understand it clearly. So here you see the case fatality rate. This is the number that we're going to be looking at, 2.3 for the overall. Now, the reason why they tell you the elderly should be more worried is because you see the fatality rate for people over 80 years old is almost 15%, which is huge. Those for 0 to 9 years old is none. No fatalities in those in the first month in China. Now, oh yes, I should probably tell you that this is as of February 11th, 2020 in mainland China. Now, those that are teenagers, you can see the fatality rate is 0.2%, okay? So not too much to worry about, even with these inflated numbers, and you'll see why in a second. Then 20 to 29-year-olds, it's 0.2%, And it doesn't really start to increase much, maybe in the when you're in your 40s, but then 50 to 59, it's 1.3, 60 to 69, 3.6, and then once you hit 70, you should probably stay in at that point and not go out if you're gonna believe all the hype, which you should believe some of the hype. Let's be honest here, but 8% fatality rate. Okay. That's all good and dandy, actually not good and not dandy, but then we go down here, and this is where it's important. So if you ask anybody that studied the first thing about viruses, I'm a dentist and I studied viruses, and the first thing they taught me about the spread of viruses, they do two things as they spread. When they spread, they get less virulent, and that means they're less harmful, okay? So that's an important word. Virulent, harmful. So as the disease spreads, it gets less harmful, and as it spreads, it also gets more contagious. And as we'll show you in just a second, it is actually quite contagious. But as far as the death rates go, you can see when the virus started, and this is any virus that starts, you're going to see high death rates like this. About 14 to 15% of a death rate when the virus first started. And then of those that contracted it from January 1st to January 10th, about a 15.6% fatality rate, which is still quite high. January 11th to 20th, you see it precipitously starts to fall to about 6%, 5.7. So now you can see it's just following the trend of most viruses. The next you see, January 21st to 31st, it's already just diving the fatality rate to 1.9. And then you get to February 1st, and the fatality rate is 0.8%. That's less than 1%. Now, still not the seasonal flu average, which is 0.1%, but the seasonal flu average that they give you is retrospective after all is said and done. So let's go look at this, and this is 0.8. So it's important to notice that if you stopped here, yeah, the fatality rate would be 0.8, but this actually is probably going to keep going down, and it's probably going to be some sort of curve where 0.8, and then the next couple of weeks, it's probably going to be about 0.6, 0.5, and then, a month later, as it spreads more, it's going to go to about 0.2, 0.1%, probably somewhere in there. So right now, I would imagine it's around the 0.2, probably definitely less than 0.5%. So let's give it the benefit. Let's give the chaos the benefit of the doubt and say it's 0.4% right now. So I mean, that's still a lot less. And as it spreads more, you're going to see that mostly the people dying are just the people that have comorbidities, which I will get into in a second what that is. So it's just a virus, guys. It's a virus. It's acting like a virus. It's really not as contagious as it's going to be later on, and it's really deadly right at first, and as it goes away, it falls down. Same thing happened with the swine flu, X flu, you name the flu, that's what happened. So it's just acting like that. So now let's go on to it's contagious. So it is quite contagious. Now here's another study from the Journal of Travel Medicine. They're taking all these numbers, and these are the numbers of how many people are going to contract the disease once one person gets it. So if you get the disease, how many people you're going to put how many people are going to contract the disease from you. So you get studies as high as 6.5% to about as low as 1%. Now the seasonal flu is about 1.3%, and so this number is quite high, which is why you're just seeing all the hysteria, because it's going at a fast rate. I think people are just taking advantage of it and telling you now that the fatality rate is quite high, because this is the only study we're seeing, and it's already spread. We should already be getting more studies about this virus and how deadly it is, and the fact that we're not is slightly suspicious. I'll give them another couple weeks for them to come out with more stuff about saying how deadly it is. But if you want to worry about something, this is what you should be worried about, the comorbidity condition, because this you have complete control over. Or I should say almost complete. Let's just say most people have control over this. Comorbidities are when two diseases kind of work together to cause harm. And so hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, those are all high comorbidity rates or high fatality rates when there's a comorbidity involved. And so that is the real pandemic. This is widespread and much higher than it should or needs to be. This is why America always tends to get a little bit harder by diseases and flus and viruses, is because these comorbidities, the death rate definitely goes up when you have a comorbidity. And there is tons of good scientific knowledge out there on how to decrease your chances of doing these, and it may not be exactly what you think and what everybody is telling you. It's the nerdy people online and in, no, I guess not online, but in the classroom, in the universities that are telling you how to lower your chances of having death rates due to comorbidities. But I digress. That's another topic for another day. But this is the real pandemic. So why? Why is this going on? Why is this happening at all? And let me see here. Let me go back to this. So what's going on? Well, as it turns out, the media has a dog in the fight. Okay, so they are going to give you the worst possible case scenario. They're going to whip up a hysteria, and the reason why they're going to do that is because they make more money. The more you're tuning in, you are skyrocketing their ratings right now, and the more they tell you it's dangerous, the more they overplay their hand, the more you tune in, and the more money they make. And then let's see, the other place that it comes from is politics. And then so if you're a Republican, Democrat, they both have dogs in the fight. If you're Trump, then in a couple weeks the fatality rates are going to come down, and if you're the Republicans, you're going to say, oh, we did such a good job at putting all the travel bans in, look what happened, the fatality rate went down, and you're going to look great. The Democrats are taking the approach as let's do all the damage we can now and say look at how bad things are. And so they both have dogs in the fight, and the media has a dog in the fight, so all your information is mostly coming from these two sources, and so they're all hyping this up, and they make money, and we all stay indoors, and I guess we get a couple days off of work, and but we all lose a little bit of money in the process. So that is why I think it's happening. Treat the real pandemic, guys. Lower your comorbidities, which is your hypertensions, your diabetes, all those things that are contributing to the other factors. If you're older, definitely stay in. This is by no means not telling you to take the normal precautions that you should take, which are if you're sick, stay indoors. Don't get us all sick, the rest of us. If you're not washing your hands, wash them an extra time, just because this one's so contagious, a couple times a day. Just follow the guidelines. They're all out there. There's the World Health Organization website, which is a good source. There's the CDC, which is a good source. Follow their guidelines to keeping this as little contagious as possible. But I don't think there's the need for the hysteria when it comes to the fatality rate. But as far as it being contagious, yes, there is it can possibly overload the system, like it happened in Italy, and it happened 2 years ago with the flu in the United States, when you just couldn't get an appointment to get into a doctor. But the fatality rates, don't be so worried about those. That's all I got for you guys. If you have any questions, if you have new research, put them in the comments below. Let's all go down there, see if there's current stuff going on. If you like this video, I'm thinking about doing more health videos and more just stuff about our health. So if you want that, let me know below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.